Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Hey everybody, this is not Bill Manning. This is Stephen Wallace with Studio C41, and just wanted to do a quick introduction. Today on the show, we are talking with Bellamy Hunt, also known as the Japan Camera Hunter. And this is pretty exciting for us. Our first time actually getting to Skype with someone on the other side of the world, because technology is cool like that. But we're really looking forward to this talk with him today, and going to get into his new film, the JCH Street Pan 400. And there's some really exciting stuff going on over there. So without further ado, here is our episode with the Japan Camera Hunter.
So Bellamy, first of all, thank you, sir, for taking time out of your day to join us. This is really cool to speak to the Japan Camera Hunter, man. So we just have a couple questions for you in regards to some new film that you released.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just in a new format. Yeah, I mean, the Street Pan was released itself. The 135 was released last year, but just this summer, I finally managed to put the 120 format into production, which has been really exciting. So, and it started shipping about 2 weeks ago now. Very cool.
So, let me ask you this. Let's backtrack a little bit to the 135. So, I remember reading when it was first announced on like Petapixel that this type of film is. Sorry, I'm not talking to the mic. That this type of film, it was like a old surveillance film, correct?
Yeah, for speed cameras.
Okay, cool. So what? I'm not terribly familiar with that type of film. What makes this like different compared to like the Kodak?
The film was designed with commercial applications in mind. Speed cameras have to be able to operate and take a satisfactory picture of, an offender, sad as that sounds, in any weather conditions. And so the film was designed originally to operate optimally in inclement weather conditions, foggy, misty, rainy, that sort of thing. So I found I liked the way it reacted to those sort of darker conditions with the strong contrast, which is why I chose it as a film I'd like to put into production. Well, like to have back on the shelves. Well, not back on the shelves. It's never been on the shelves, but I'd like to have on the shelves. I looked at a few films that I'd wanted to make, but that was the one that really caught my eye.
It's very cool. Has it been a big challenge for you going from kind of a reseller and a hunter of cameras, as your name says, from like that to actually like being a production house essentially?
I think the official term is broker.
Yes, excuse me. So a broker of cameras.
Yeah, a camera broker.
Yes.
It was challenging because I've had experience in doing that sort of thing in the commercial world before in my previous job, but having gone from the usual pace of what I do to, as you say, becoming a manufacturer essentially, it's been very challenging. And I'm still trying to do all of the jobs almost myself. I have assistants to help me with things, but I still, research and source and all of this stuff myself. It's been very, very challenging. There's been plenty of sleepless nights. There still are, because I really feel when I was doing it previously for a company, I was just a cog in a machine. So came 6 p.m. and I would just say, right, I'm done, I'm out, thanks very much. This will still be here tomorrow. But now this is my baby. So I'm a lot more emotionally invested in it, you know, and
absolutely.
I find myself, you know, always concerned about how people feel, making sure that people are happy with the product. And, you know, when somebody says something about it, you know, then they start perhaps attacking it or something, I take it quite personally.
Yeah. It's kind of, you know, I mean, it's a cartoon of your face on the box after all, so there's that.
Is there? No, there isn't. Thank God. No, that was the old logo.
Oh,
God.
gotcha. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Oh, God. If there was that on there, I would have been torn to shreds.
No.
Who do you think you are? Yeah.
On the note of manufacturing, how difficult was it to move from 35 to 120? Was there inherent challenges there?
Yes. There were a lot of challenges. It took a lot longer than we expected. I think a lot of the challenges are fairly well documented online about making 120 anyway, particularly with backing paper and things like this.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah. You know, it was something that when I released the 135, people mentioned, "Hey, I love 120," and I thought to myself, I really don't want to go through.
I wouldn't love it.
Like, I'm not really down with that. And then people kept on saying, "Hey, 120," and I thought, I've kind of got to really, you know. So, but the people I work with are very, very good, and they're very professional, and we got through it a lot more smoothly than we thought. But now people are starting saying, you know, 8x10.
I was just about to joke around and say, so when are you going to drop 4x5 on us? Because we just talked about large format tonight.
Oh, come on, man.
No, we're so excited. Brent is going to be getting that batch of 120 pretty soon. And,
oh, nice.
So I said, you have to leave us some, because I shot some of the 135, and you're absolutely right. I mean, just the conditions for that film is very versatile, and I really like the grain on it is very pleasing. I was very happy with it. So I guess, would you recommend, you know, shooting it at box speed, or I mean, what's the pushability, pullability on that film?
I've not really had that many people say they've pulled it. In fact, I haven't heard from anyone to say they've pulled it, but I know some people do push it. I've even had one guy saying, "Hey, I'm going to shoot it at 3200," and I was like, "Ooh,
Wow!
Careful there, buddy. You know, don't get it." But I think some people, you know, take it to 800. Personally, I would recommend box speed. It performs optimally at box speed.
What's a good developer combination for that?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, it's such a personal decision. You know, for me, I like Rodinal, or, you know, one shot, whatever you want to call it. But I always have done. I know other people who say, you know, you won't get me near that carcinogenic crap, you know, and they're all about their Ilford, or, you know, or Xtol, or something like that, D76. So it depends what your it reacts well to pretty much all of the developers. There was a guy on one of the forums, and he basically he was awesome. He basically just tested he bought loads of rolls and tested every developer he could get his hands on.
Oh, nice.
In his ongoing search for the optimal performance, you know, which I believe he's still doing.
Man, I wish I had that kind of time.
Yeah, right. You know, this is the thing. This is one of the funny things, really. I have been so busy with this film that of the 135, I've probably shot about 20 or 30 rolls only. I just haven't had time. Wow. And of the 120, I am yet to shoot a roll.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because I literally spend all of my time dealing with it. You know? So, but I will, you know, I'll get a holiday, I'll get a break, and I'll crack the medium format out and see where we go.
So just for clarification's sake, I think it got brought up a second ago, but it is the exact same film, so people who love the 35 should expect the same thing?
Yeah, exact same film.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, no difference at all.
Cool. So, oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I've already seen some of the results online. People have been posting them, and the contrast and tones are just, it blows me away how people are using it and how creative they are, and to see my film being shot, all over the world, that's pretty awesome.
That's got to be an amazing feeling for sure. Something that because you had no idea kind of going into this if it was going to take off or not.
Yeah. And this was the thing, it was my own money.
Sure.
I took the risk with my own money. I didn't borrow money. I didn't crowdfund or, so it was a big risk.
So would you say that the resurgence in film, do you think your timing was right, or was it planned like that? Or, I mean, how did you feel out the market that this was kind of like the right thing to do?
I don't really do that. I
Fair enough.
go,
Yeah.
I don't. I just go by what I think is right. So, I'd been working and talking about film and promoting film for a while anyway, and I'd mentioned about a year before, if you could make a film, what would it be? And I got a really strong reaction. And I thought to myself, I would love to make something. So I started asking around, and around the time that the companies started saying, yes, we can do this and this and this, I started seeing more discontinuations of film.
Right. one
of those large Japanese companies that remains nameless.
As I've been going on, I'm going to go ahead and name drop it, but I've been very rude with them and calling them FujiNOTFilm.
Oh, I openly criticize them, and because of that, I don't think they like me very much. I don't care. I think they've done themselves a disservice to their legacy. But anyway, they there was all of these sort of discontinuations coming, and I was sort of reporting, I guess, film news when I got it, and I thought we really should have some good news.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We really need some good news, and if I can give some people, some good news, I think that will help, this resurgence, this wave. It will help people feel a bit more positive about what they're doing, perhaps. And that was my intention, really.
for sure.
So,
I mean, it has seemed like, I don't know, 2017's been a year of more good film news than bad, or at least it seems like there's, started with Ektachrome being announced by Kodak, and just like all of the kind of boutique manufacturers like putting more and more stuff into production, it seems like.
Yeah.
So,
It's been a good year, and it's going to get better.
you think so?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think what in just like from your side of the industry and being a film manufacturer maker now, like, do you think this is where like film is going to go? Is it going to be more on this kind of like this niche boutique, these really small labors of love kind of like people?
No, there will be that. That's going to be an inevitable sort of public reaction to what has been happening. But you've also got, as you say, Kodak are putting Ektachrome back into production. You've got people like Piranha,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
who put the P30 out and have got their other films coming, and they're gonna, once they've finally keyed down how things are working, because you'll see that the P30 is like a tester for them, I guess.
Yeah.
And once they've keyed down everything, then they're going to really start cranking up production, and you'll see a lot more from them.
I'm excited about that, and the P30, the reaction to that has been just phenomenal.
Right? And like the Rollo Variochrome,
Yeah.
things like that. So you're going to see small batch stuff, but you're also going to see different manufacturers getting in on the film again and making perhaps bringing out new films like Berger and Orwo and all of these sort of people.
Yeah,
so it's quite an exciting time. It's going to change. It can't be the way it was, because back in the day, FujiNOTFilm and people like that would produce batches of millions of rolls at a time, which is how they got to keep their prices down.
Sure, yeah.
And it's just it's not really possible to do it that way unless you've got endless funds.
Yeah, I've talked with had a chance to talk with a few different people from Kodak on the Alaris side, and even some guys from Eastman Kodak, and it's just their whole world has changed in the last 10 to 20 years, where they used to have a giant pool of money to be able to research something new, and now it's taken so long to get Ektachrome back on the streets because they're having it's not like they can just press a button and start it again. And
there's nobody just saying, "Oh, here's the checkbook. How much do you need?"
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't happen now. It's kind of like you've got $500,000 to develop a new film, and you're like, "What?" I can make a proposal for that, So it's going to change, but there's still a lot of old emotions which could be revived. Because we've still got the formulas for those. They're just not in production. So, things once, Ferrania and people like that have got full key production going again, you can start having more options available. So it's going to be a different market, but it's not going anywhere. It's not just going to go, "Oh yeah, I'm finished, done. Thanks very much, bye." Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm going to make sure of it.
Hey, that's fantastic. I know a lot of us in the film community, people like yourself, you've been such a strong advocate for, for just film shooting and cameras and now making the film, but also just, I don't know, getting people kind of rallied and passionate about it. Like people like you, people like the Brothers Wright, guys behind Cine Still, who are like, no, this can be our time. This can be the prime of film.
Yes, it can.
So yeah, it's always just like I'm getting pumped about it right now just talking. So it's it's very, very, very good to hear.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I just like the idea of positive news and of people having an alternative to the same bland, re-updated every 2 years camera, taking the same images. I just want people to have another option.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, I'll keep on doing what I do as long as I can do it.
Hey, good on you.
Was the idea in a market for just like Japan, or did you intentionally have it to be worldwide? I guess,
the intention originally was worldwide. It actually came onto the Japanese market quite a bit later than it did the world market, and the Japanese market is not a big one for me.
Interesting.
And I operate selling film in Japan is almost at a loss.
I was going to ask about, because I was really, really interested in what the market of film looks like in Japan, and even just like film shooting community.
The prices are so high in the stores, but the stores don't pay that price for the film. They're pretty cutthroat. Because they had a market for years where it was people like Fuji basically dictating what price they should sell stuff for.
Sure.
And making sure that, because competition rules don't matter or whatever. So they would just, they would make sure everybody had a uniform price everywhere, and this is what you sell it at. And the stores don't want to break out of that habit, I've never seen them reduce the prices for sure. So, Japan is quite a small market for me. My main focus is worldwide.
So would you, I think we see a lot of, I don't know, it's hard for a lot of us who keep getting the news of 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 Fuji discontinuing films and keep hearing from, like, I've even spoken to some Fuji reps at conventions and stuff, and they're all like, oh, well, it's whatever Fuji Japan wants to do, and if it's not selling in Japan, it doesn't really motivate them to do things elsewhere. And
it's the shareholders,
Is it? But then we see all the time, like online, on Instagram, even in person here, there's this booming and burgeoning like film shooting community.
They don't see that because it's all in. You see, you've got to bear in mind that the executives who are dictating this stuff in Fuji are, pretty old.
Yeah, sure.
And they are, one, stranglehold by their shareholders, but two, they don't look outside of Japan, and they don't look at it if it's in English. So if they're not presented with this information of this resurgence, this boom, it's not happening as far as they're concerned. So you've got this sort of old mindset culture, and they're executives who've been in these positions since the 80s. So they're like, well, it's not as popular as it was in the 80s. Well, it can't be, because you won't even produce film of that in that level anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
They have a long-term goal, and that's to get out of the film game, and by upping the prices and then saying nobody's buying it, so we have to up the price again. Oh, well, nobody's still buying it, so we'll have to discontinue it so we can focus on Instax and the X system.
So do you think it's really a matter of time before they're just out of anything outside of their digital and the Instax at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that.
And it's so disappointing, too, because, I was one of the people that signed on to the, I think it was change.org for Pack Film when they had announced FP100C. And when you had Florian Capps, make that trip all the way out to Japan, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's actually going to sit down with the execs and, say, look, here are all the signatures, and then change their minds. And it was the polar opposite. I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, it really was a huge symbolism for, just taking that knife and just stabbing us, in the back.
They actually looked at it and just went, nah. Like fake news, They were just because if it's not happening in Japan, then so what?
So I guess people there's not really a film shooting community in Japan, or not one of.
This is the thing. There's still a massive one, and you can still go to the camera shops and buy all of the developer and blah blah blah, And there's camera stores everywhere selling used film cameras. It's still a big thing here, but, you're talking about a company that's run by a bunch of old men and shareholders.
Yeah.
And the shareholders see the profit from X system and go, yeah, we want more of that. They don't care about nostalgia. They don't care about history. What they care about is bottom line. And as sad as it sounds, that's the way it's run. So,
but for me, it's on the polar opposite. It's great to see a company like Kodak who makes a point of nostalgia and legacy and heritage. And when they announce things, they talk about it from that direction. Whether it's a marketing ploy, I mean, I'm not those people. I don't know, but I would be hard pressed to say that it's more than just nice words. I think.
Well, and you have a lot of those Kodak executives who are at trade shows now. People kind of stepping out of the ivory tower and actually this is realizing that they need to be on the ground.
Well, this is the thing, because Kodak went through all sorts of financial troubles and all of this sort of stuff, so they had to do something. Fuji hasn't had any of those troubles. They haven't faced bankruptcy. They haven't had to shut down huge swathes of the company because they've got so many divisions doing so many things that one can prop up the other.
Sure, yeah.
And so they haven't faced that kind of we've got to do something. What they've seen is digital cameras, and they've made the X, and they've had a really good public reaction from it. So they've just gone, okay, cool, we've got a cash cow.
So it inadvertently may have been the best decision Kodak's ever made to not pursue digital photography. We may not have film if they have, at least not to the degree we have it now, which is some massive irony in there.
Yeah, right. So, hey, if one of the Fuji executives wants to correct me on this, I'll stand corrected, but I don't think we'll be hearing from them anytime soon.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Bellamy, thank you, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule and
Sure.
sitting down with us and talking about your new film. It's a very, very awesome film. I've shot it. We're so excited for the 120 to make its way over here. And
Sure, I'll be packing that up, ready for shipping today. By the way, so
Nice.
Wow. Excellent.
just so you know, I'm looking at it right now.
So,
Shall I make them wait? Yeah.
oh,
please
that's
don't.
so mean.
you can, if you want to send some straight to us and just like make Brent wait longer, that's fine
Yeah,
too.
There
sure.
you go.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, all
Yeah.
right.
So what's next for you? What's
I'm still in the maelstrom of the film, but yeah, I want to release more films.
hey, that's what I was fishing for. So.
Yeah, I want to release more films. I want to make some I want to make some other film options. I'd like to make a camera.
Oh, that'd be
Cool.
Wow.
that's always kind of in the back of my mind. Like, is this going to be the last time I get to use this camera before it breaks?
Yeah, I'd like to make a camera. Well, that's a bigger, harder thing. That's going to take.
Sure.
There's lots I want to do. I'm off to Finland at the end of this month to talk with the Camera Ventures guys. We're going to do a sort of like a live cast thing
Oh, very cool.
to talk about the future and things we can do. So yeah, it's going to be there's a lot bubbling away on the stove.
That's phenomenal. Well, Bellamy, where's for anybody who's listening who doesn't follow you, isn't familiar with what you do, where's the best place to keep up with it and get more information?
So the website, obviously, which is www.japancamera.hunter.com, all one word. And social media is the same. Twitter is more me spouting nonsense.
That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah, which is not generally all that related to cameras. I only recommend you follow Japan Camera Hunter on Twitter if you want to hear some of my anger at some point or something.
Awesome.
Vitriol.
So if you want to be entertained, go on Twitter.
But Instagram is the one where everybody goes to go and look at the fancy pictures of cameras and stuff, and that's, again, it's all roads lead to Rome, Japan Camera Hunter. So you'll be able to find me there or on Facebook. And there's always information about not just what I do and the things that I'm selling or the products that I have, but all companies that I think are doing good things for film. I sort of share the information in the news.
That's
So
great.
yeah, just hit me up on those. But please note, like, I get so many messages on all platforms that it's just, there's no way I can reply to every single one of them. If you want a quicker response, you're going to have to email me. Basically.
Sure, I understand that.
Yeah. I do my best. I do try and look at all the messages.
It's
But
like you're just one person or something.
yeah, it's just like it's like I've got two hands and one brain. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, always come and check it out. Japan Camera Hunter, hit me up. Come and see what we're up to.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Bellamy, thank you again, sir. We won't take up any more of your time, but we definitely look forward to seeing that 120, and we'll definitely talk about it on the show when we get it and get to shoot it. So, but it's just like the 135, and I have nothing but great things to say about it.
Awesome. I hope you like it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, sir, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Bellamy.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.